Hello, my name is Eric Jáskolka. I am the Guinness World Records holder for the largest X-Men memorabilia collection. My collection has over 16,000 items and continues to grow. I started reading comic books in 1989 because I needed a form of escapism. And then in the mid-90s, I started collecting everything X-Men. My synagogue Sunday school teacher owned the local comic book store where I lived in Lincoln, Nebraska. And he said, you might be interested in X-Men. There is a tie to Judaism and the Holocaust. Mutants have powers, and people didn't quite understand them. Similar to the way the Nazis felt about Jews, Gypsies, blacks, anybody who wasn't part of their race or nation. And there's actually several storylines in which they build these giant sentinels, which are to capture mutants and put them in camps. And there is even a storyline with the Mutant Registration Act where all mutants had to register their powers. So a lot of connectivity to the Jewish history. For modern times now, it more or less means for all of us that don't fit in because of our hair color, our height, our lack of hair, our weight, whatever the case may be, kind of represents the every man, the every person, as far as trying to fit in and be a part of society. I've never put on a Wolverine costume. It's kind of fun. You know, this is definitely a moment. This is something to celebrate. So definitely stepping out of my comfort zone and putting on Wolverine is kind of awesome. So we walk through the room here. The first section we have right here is movie, from movie theater cups at the top and popcorn tubs. They're from the United States, from overseas. Then we have different items from the other movies. A lot of it's promotional items given out to the cast and crew or given out at different movie theaters. As we continue to move down here, we have bobbleheads, we have Slurpee straws, we have glasses. These 4 glasses were from a movie theater chain down in Texas. Then down at the bottom here we have most of the toy items. So we have all the action figures, and something right above the action figures that's unique is this watch. This was a promotional watch given out to the cast and crew for the first X-Men movie. Various items like a cookie jar and some other statues. My son actually made this sculpture for me when he was in 4th or 5th grade, so very important item for my collection. My kids are heavily involved in my collection. Magneto helmet, Cerebro helmet, and Professor X. I have tried them on. They're a little big. They're fun. I do like the fact that there's so many watches. I think there's 60 or 70, and I actually have an extra one of these that I wear daily. This watch in particular is one of my favorites. From what I understand, this is a prototype. It was never released. I've only ever seen 3 of them. This is one of them. The battery does not work anymore, but at one time it actually did play little animated cartoons and caricatures on the watch. As we move along here, we have a lot of different action figures. At the top we have from the X-Men Evolution cartoon 10 or 15 or so years ago. Then we move on down here to Marvel Legends, which are more of the modern action figures that are larger. 2 of the really neat ones here, we have Apocalypse. As you buy figures, different parts of the figure, for example the arms, the legs, the torso, the head, come with individual figures, and you build the figure literally. And then we also have the Sentinel, which is even taller than Apocalypse. So those are really neat, just how massive they are, plus the amount of detail that they put in, especially here to the Sentinel. A couple interesting items here. This particular figure, this is a wooden figure. My wife was on consumer advisory boards, and she recommended superhero. More or less my wife had a hand in making a Wolverine figure, so that's kind of neat. We have one of my favorite items, one of my first early expensive purchases, a life-size Wolverine claw replica here. This is another unreleased prototype, something unique to add to my collection that no one else will have. Back here we have a Papa John's pizza box. Interesting story on that. When that came out, I contacted them and said, I want to buy a clean box. I have to pay the $10, $15 pizza, that's fine, for a clean box. They looked at me kind of weirdly and said, we'll just give you a box.